Okay, it is Monday. We are live. Mr. Bean is being Mr. Bean. We are painting today. We're breaking out the gouache paints. And we're gonna do another installment of my Happy Little Trees project where I'm trying to follow as many of the Bob Ross tutorials as I get around to doing with gouache. Because it's a medium I've not done a whole lot with, but I would like to do more with. So here we are. And we're going to see what all we can do. And sometimes it's a little tricky. Because Bob can do things with oil paint that we can't necessarily do with gouache. We can try though. But like, he's got magic white down. So whatever he's putting on there for color is going to automatically end up being slightly lighter because he's mixing white into it as his medium on there. So we might have to adjust for that. And our colors probably won't be exact because we don't have the same colors as Bob does. But this is the 7th one that we'll be following. And the chat has the link to the tutorial in full. I have pinned that in the comments. The playlist so far of all the ones I've done up to this point is on the YouTube channel. It's the Happy Little Trees. Let me grab that for you real quick. So I'm getting the name of it right. Yeah, Happy Little Trees is the link to that playlist, or at least that's what it's called. All right. Oh, that was the old desk. Okay, we've been working on this for a hot minute. All right, so that is the link to that playlist. Okay. All right, so this one is called Autumn Mountains. And like always, we've got the tutorial queued up in the bottom corner there. I have it muted. Just to be on the safe side. I do have closed captioning on though. So if you would like to follow the tutorial yourself, you are free to do so. Just so I think this is the mixy white. We're gonna need titanium white. Just follow that first link that's pinned and that'll take you to that. So we're gonna see how this goes here. So let's go ahead and we'll hit play. And I didn't have it queued up to where I really wanted to start. So he does alizarin crimson and Prussian blue and mixes them together. And because he's already got the liquid white on the canvas, it kind of makes like this sort of lavender color, but not exactly. I don't know what I would call that. Like a dusty mauve? Mauve? Maybe mauve is a little pinker. Wait, Bob, back up. What did you do? okay, then he grabbed just some straight Prussian blue and kind of mixed that into the bottom of it. Gotta be on your toes with him. Phthalo green and Prussian blue. Oh my goodness. Bob. Bob. Hmm. Okay. All right. So they always do these 3/4 shots and it kills me. Can we do a head-on shot, please? Can we see what this is supposed to look like head-on? Before we apply our forehead directly to the desk. I mean, so he kind of blends that out. So there's like a slight gray section. Sorry, YouTube, I'm not getting anything out of your ad playing, so. Alright, and neither one of those are ones I could skip. So he thinned those out. Okay. Do we get a head on? No, nope, nope. Okay, that doesn't help me though that much. Okay. Okay, so I guess that's the best shot that we're gonna get. So I need to find what colors we have. Aegean blue. I do have a Prussian blue. I do have a Prussian blue. Now this is the Arteza gouache. I have no problem with the Arteza gouache. It was just their acrylic paints that I wasn't a real big fan of. I don't have any issue with these ones though. I don't remember if there is an alizarin in the gouache. I'm gonna look. I don't remember. I probably should have did this earlier. No. Okay, so we don't really have that. I've got a rose, a wineberry. You know what? Something else I haven't done? I haven't swatched these. I kind of feel like it might be this wineberry. Kind of feels close. But the Prussian is going to be so strong on that. Alright, so if I go with a little bit of the wineberry. Now, Bob is also on this big ass canvas. I am working on a 5x7 piece of watercolor paper that I've had kicking around for a while. Alright, so I'm going to put a little bit of the Prussian blue down. I'm scared because I think I'm like just going to totally hate this. Where was my blue tray? Okay. So let me slide you under there. Now I have like a little bit of like the mixy white. So the one thing I don't like about these little tubes, I need something. There we go. These little tubes, the paint can really dry up in there. Alright, so that's like the mixy white. My gouache brushes. Guess we can use you. You should be just fine enough. Alright. Now, I'm gonna get some water over there. I'm gonna take some of this mixy white. I don't use this super straight from the tube. I usually add a bit of water into it. Alright, I'm gonna try to grab the smallest amount of Prussian blue. Wow. That is so bright. Even with that white mixed into it. Kind of looks like a sky blue that we got going there. Alright. So I'm gonna add a little bit of water to this wine berry color. Probably not the same exact color that he used, but that's okay. It's just fine. It's our piece, and we can do whatever the heck we want with it. A little bit more there. I might need more of that mixed in there as we go. Alright, so he kind of had like the top kind of filled in. Now I've taped this down so my paper doesn't get too buckly. Some people like to use their gouache a little bit thicker. That's fine. If you prefer it a little bit thicker, then do it a little bit thicker. But for this backgroundy bit, I'm just kind of looking for something a little bit softer. Apparently I had some fuzz under the tape there. Alright, so I'm kind of wetting my paper a little bit. Down in here, just so I can kind of get that to spread out just a little bit. Alright. You know, I think I want to zoom in just a little. If the camera will let us. Okay. Now, I'm not sure how much of this, like, lavender he's really got going on there. Mine's a little more pink than lavender. I will say that. Again, it's okay. It's all gonna be okay. Alright, so I'm gonna come back in. He kind of takes that about, maybe not quite halfway. So I'm just kind of dampening my paper a little bit ahead of time. Again, this might feel more like watercolory technique, but that's okay. Feel like it'll help soften up some of that really in your faceness of this Prussian blue mixture here. It does make a very pretty, at least this Prussian blue. His Prussian blue might be a bit different. You know, it was some time ago, and that is oil paint. I don't know if the pigment would be slightly different from oil to gouache. Might not be all that different, but you never know. But again, you don't have to make yours as thin as I'm making mine at all. It's just when we've got to be layering up so many different things here, I would like to start out a little bit thinner, personally. Just so I have less to worry about mixing into and reactivating in the upper layers. Kind of trying to give it that little bit of grayness there in the middle. where they are meeting up. Trying to make it a little more blended instead of like stripey. That makes sense? Probably not. But I will say this particular gouache does reactivate pretty well. I'm actually getting some egg plates for Christmas that I'm going to use as my gouache palettes, so that way I've got like little wells for all the colors and I don't have to constantly be rinsing out my palettes. Okay, now what did he use for that base on the bottom there again? I need to back up a little bit. Phthalo green, impression blue. Phthalo green. Do we have a phthalo green? I don't know. Let's see here. Do we have some green. I just don't know if we have a phthalo. So we have to kind of figure that out. We have a viridian. I don't know if that's really even anywhere near close to phthalo. It might be as close as I'm gonna get. Mr. Bean, no. Mr. Bean, off. Sorry. Voice. Oh, the one thing I absolutely hate with these tubes, and it was like this with the acrylics too, is that if the paint dries in the threads, they are horrible to get open and they blister my hand trying to get them open. Alright, so I'm gonna take some of this viridian. And I guess I need to add just a small amount of the Prussian blue. And Mr. Bean has the crazy zooms at the moment. Alright, I think we can make that color work, but he has that liquid white down. So I'm just trying to get my brush as clean as I can here. I think he's playing with that cereal box, but I'm not certain. Oh my god.
Get off her computer, thank you.
Mr. Bean. Oh, he is a wild man all of a sudden. Alright, I'm gonna rinse that because I need to add a little bit more. I know you guys can't really see my palette. It's off to the side here. I just don't have enough room. To show you all everything. So it's just that mixy white. Okay, that's probably pretty close there, and I'm just gonna add some water into that. I'm probably gonna get some fresh water in a minute. Mr. Bean, get down, please. Alright, so let's go with that. Yeah, let me get some clean water here. See, I think we're using this bottle right now. Dump that into there. I've got my dump cup.
Enough.
So I've got this little cup that I'm working out of. And then I've got a bigger cup that I am dumping the dirty water into. So I don't know if I have mixed quite enough of this. I guess we'll see. I don't know if the sky was supposed to be down further or not. A good portion of this section that we're in right now ends up getting filled in with ground cover. The heck did that come from? Seriously. Mr. Bean, what are you doing? I hear you. Behave over there. Okay, so I'm just using masking tape from Dollar General. Nothing special. I had picked up a different tape at one point and realized that that was not, what was it, drafting tape. That did not like water being anywhere near it. No, that is not a toy. No, you can't have that. You can't have my turtle. Turtle is not for Mr. Beans. You can be mad all you want. Don't be chewing my turtles. No. Turtles are not for Bean. I mean, if you want to be dumb enough to chew on the stone one, then that's up to you. That's definitely a you decision there, buddy. But let's not chew on the wooden ones, okay? You already broke one of them. No, you cannot have that. No. What did I say? No, no. You cannot take my turtle. Now stop. Go. Thank you. I have these little tiny, like, walnut shell turtles that their heads bob up and down in. Kind of like this big coconut turtle that I have. And he keeps trying to bite them and chew on them. He split the one's face in half last night. And then, as I'm sitting here, he's trying to grab another one and in his mouth and run away with it. I'm like, no. What we're not doing is that. Sorry, my friend. Now, I know he's got that white sheen in the middle. We can add it back in. It's fine. We can always take a little bit of titanium white. And bring that back in. Not a huge deal. If you want to make it a point to keep that there, that's fine. Like I said, you guys do you. And what's gonna work for you? That's my foot, Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean, that's my foot. Mr. Bean. My foot's not a toy. Would you kindly remove your claws from it? No. 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 Thank you. Mr. Bean wants everyone to play with him 24/7. Every time I went to turn over last night, I heard him making his meows and he was running over. And he'd be like up my nose. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I'm fine, buddy. It's sleepy time. It's trying to be sleepy time. I could have used a bigger brush. I chose not to. I kind of like these smaller brushes, even if it does take me a little bit more time to get where I'm wanting to go. Just what I prefer to work with. Good to know where these fuzzes are coming from constantly. That kind of worked into there. Again, I know Bob works super fast. We're not trying to keep pace with Bob. We're just seeing how Bob is doing this one so we can learn approaches to other stuff. Alright, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more. Looks like the phone calls are gonna start again. They had backed off for a little bit. Which was kind of surprising. Alright, so I'm just adding a little bit more color here and there. Alright. Like this bottom corner is pretty bright by comparison to everything else, so I'll grab a little bit more water. Okay. Excuse me. Alright, I think I'm feeling okay about that. We'll see how I feel about it later. I might not feel as okay about that as we go on. But we will see. All right. He's ventured off to wherever to go get into more trouble. All right, so Bob, you're taking your fan brush. Titanium white. With a touch of permanent red to give it a pinkish tone. Okay. We've got a couple cloudy guys here. And then he's gonna kind of blend those guys out a little bit. So we only did like 2. Before we get carried away with mountains, Bob. Alright, so he took titanium white for this. Oh my goodness. Why can I not get this open? Give me 1 second here while I try to find something I can open it with. A tube.
Yep.
I don't know yet. Nope.
Got it.
Alright. So we've got the titanium white. I'm not worried about any of the little dry bits in there, that's fine. He took a permanent red. Oh, I have a permanent red. I mean, I have a pink. That I could just lighten, but it might. Was scarlet close to a permanent? I don't know. Oh, we haven't really used this one. I can tell because that tube opened with ease. Alright. I want a round brush for this. Yeah, that'll probably be okay. Alright, so let me wet my brush here. Alright, I'm gonna take some of the titanium white. I'm gonna rinse that. Just so I can try to keep my colors a little bit clean here. Oh, that was too much. That was way too much. Oh dear. Way too much. Way too much. Alright, I'm just gonna grab some of that mixy white to try to tone this down a little. And grab a lot more white. Alright, that's probably a bit better. Alright, just a little bit of water. Okay, it's barely colored. Okay. Let's see how that does us here. Okay, so he's got two of these in here. One's kind of hanging out over here. It's hard to tell how tinged his clouds are at times with the way the cameras were then and everything, and picking up what colors were what. Because, you know, we're also going to pick up some of this color from underneath too. Because that's just the way that the gouache is. So I'm going to add just a little bit of just water on there just to kind of blend out the bottom a little bit. My bristles are loose, my ferrule. Not real happy about that. These weren't, well, I mean, these weren't super expensive brushes, but I can feel it being a little bit loose when I'm wiggling back and forth. I might have to add a little bit of tape onto there. Just to keep it from getting too much. I haven't used this brush all that much, so I'm a little peeved by it, but I mean, what are you gonna do, right? And like Bob said, we can do our clouds as big or small or however we want to have them. I'm just kind of blending out the bottom there. Alright, now we've got another guy kind of hanging out down into here. A little bit of a taller top. I'm just kind of swirling and twirling as we go here. Kind of bringing this guy in. He just needs to be a little bit thicker, I think, in the coloring department here. Try to get him to stand out a little bit more. I'm gonna grab just a little bit of white, or white water, and just kind of thin that out. Now, if you wanted them to be a little more standouty, I'm sure you could grab just a little touch of the titanium and come back in just a teeny tiny bit. If you just wanted to give it a little bit more punch. In a couple of places. I wouldn't go too crazy doing that just yet, though, since I don't really fully know what he's planning on layering next. I know we're doing a mountain. Okay, so that's probably good enough. Alright, I'm gonna rinse my brush here really good. Yeah, that little bit of tape stopped it from clicking and feeling loose when I was moving that around. Alright, so we got some cloudy guys in. Alright, Bob, there was talk of a mountain. Brown, alizarin, crimson, white. He grabbed another color and he didn't say what it was. Huh? That kind of looks like a blue-gray, doesn't it? I bet you he added Prussian into that. Did I miss him adding Prussian? Oh, he did say blue. Blue, brown, white. I might just grab a gray, a blue-gray. Like, it kind of feels like a lighter pains. Oh, he's just making all kinds of jagged stuff happening here. Alright, so he takes that to just about the water line, just about. And then he's gonna take my, he's graying it down. So like a light gray. Super light gray. Oh, I'm gonna need to get a stick. Not to burn for heat, but to make our mountain here. Huh. It's almost like a slightly lighter color of the mountain base color itself. Kinda. So he's just kind of playing back and forth with the shadows. Oh. Walmart, I'm not watching your 21-minute ad talking about a Who feast. I'm sorry, I'm not. That's not an ad, that's a video. like that's a whole ass vlog length video. Is no longer an ad or commercial. What's he doing? He thinned it down a little bit. Oh, and then he starts putting clouds in front of it. Okay. Alright, well, Bob, before we get too carried away with that, let's pause there. So he used like a darker gray. He mixed that gray for sanity's sake. I don't know that I'm going to. Right, I have a gray. Do I have a taupe? I don't have a Payne's gray though. Okay. Well, let me see what the taupe is going to look like. What's wrong?
My mother needs me to hook up the water.
Where's Bean?
He's not in here, which is what matters. So I can see him on the way in.
At least I don't think I've got a Payne's gray. No, none there. Oh wait, what do I have over here? Nope, those are just blues. Okay. The trays make it easier to sort through the colors, but also not at the same time. So I need a stick. I have some extra sticks. I had like 2 extra sticks that I had pulled out for our magnet frame, which I am hoping we will be doing tomorrow. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I've got a janky one in here. It's like a little extra bent, I thought. Alright, I'll just go with this one. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so I'm going to... I want to do this. So I'm gonna snip that off, and then I'm also gonna... Okay, that hit me in the face. Also got a straight edge here. That one up there. This one is tiny. It's gonna go into the trash. Okay. So I'm gonna take some of our gray here. And I might mix just the teeniest amount of blue into it. Alright, so we'll do some gray. And then I'm just gonna grab like the tiniest bit of the Prussian blue. I don't know how I feel about that, but It's kind of got some of our green in there. You know, I'm playing with fire. Bringing that brush full of water and pigment over our piece here. Alright, I'm just mixing up a color. Little touch of Prussian blue into this gray. Alright, just gonna rinse that real good before we get started on that. I'll put you over there. Alright. Okay, so how far is this sitting? Okay, he's pretty close to the edge. Okay. So he's kind of like up that way. And then we kind of have another little peaky guy there. Straight down. And I've got like another little guy here. And then we've got like this guy back here. Kind of like straight down to here. And it kind of goes off that way, I guess. I'm not real sure if it's supposed to be that big. I'm not sure if I was supposed to squish that a bit. Because he's got a much bigger canvas. I'm not sure. I guess I should like take a peek at the end. It's gonna get covered up with stuff anyway, so. It's Bob. Of course it's gonna get covered up with stuff. Alright, so. Add just a little bit more gray into this to make sure I've got enough paint here. Yeah, so I'm hoping we can finish up that needle felting from season 3. Tomorrow. Which means I'm gonna need to get the glue gun out. Make sure I've got glue sticks still. I think I do. Now, I didn't add any brown to mine because I didn't mix this color. Well, I didn't fully mix this color. Most of it was a pre-mixed color. I could have tried to mix it, but then, you know, I would have made it a little bit harder on myself, and since I don't have the exact same colors, I wasn't sure if that was going to give me the same color. That old Bobberoonie has there, so it's fine. You're allowed to use pre-mixed colors. If it's just easier for your brain. We're supposed to be having fun and painting something. It's not like we're being graded on this, you know. If you enjoy mixing the color, then by all means mix the color. But if that's not something that brings you joy and you would rather just use the pre-mixed, and again, by all means, use the premix. In fact, in one of Bob's kits now, they just have a tube called Mountain Mix. Okay? Remember, this is from the first season also. I'm not even really sure why they made the Mountain Mix color, because his mountains are never the exact same shade all the time. I think it was like a gray-blue color. I think. Okay. Let me rinse that. So then we needed... Oh no, we don't allow links posted without permission. Number 1. You made Moobot angry. Number 2, we certainly don't allow advertisements. So I think you've just put yourself on the naughty list for Santa. Okay. That there. And you've earned yourself a ban on my channel. So you're just batting 1,000. Okay, so I actually need a little bit of fresh water here. I don't have my eyedropper out today. I usually use that when I'm doing the gouache just so I can keep track of how much water I've put into a color so I remember how to get there in the end. Okay, so I need to mix a lighter version of this. So I'm going to pull out some of that they weren't watching the dog. The dog took off. Oh, she responds to the caller. Husband's out there. I don't think I need to go out there. Alright, so I'm going to grab a little bit of the mixing white to get us a lighter version of this. Not sure how much of it I'm going to need. Let me rinse that before I go back into my white. Apparently, it's just so difficult to have that dog on a leash and have the button for her collar in hand. And then they stand there and tell me straight faced, oh no, the dog listens good. No. The dog barreling down the driveway and almost into traffic or out into traffic, possibly causing an accident, is not listening good. So you can just take that and shove it. It just upsets me that I care more about that dog's well-being than they do. Alright. I don't hear the husband yelling anymore. I don't know if the dog made it across the street. I don't know if he's still chasing her. I don't know. I don't know if I should even go look. Okay, so that's probably... I don't know if that's quite... It doesn't feel quite white enough. So I'm going to take a little bit of the titanium. I'm going to mix that in too. Kind of want to see what my taupe color looks like. It's kind of like a gray pink. What happens if I add a little bit of that in? Does that help with this color? I'm not sure. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of water, not much, because I need this to be a little bit thicker. All right, so we'll go with this. Alright, I'm gonna grab my, do I want this side or do I want the straight side? Alright, so let me try this side. Alright. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to get my hand in here. Oh, it's the husband. Okay, so I guess they caught the dog. It sounds like he's filling the bird feeders. So I probably have it a little too liquidy. That's okay. Yeah, if we wanted to do our our real Bob Rossi mountains, we would need to. So why did I hear you yelling honey?
Oh, because the cat walked by and she took off after the cat, like she always does.
Did she actually get into the street?
No. Cat ran for the neighbor's porch and managed to hide up there.
Who was watching the dog?
Both of them.
Where was the button?
They were slow to hit the button, like the dipsticks they are.
I keep warning them. She has like a collar that beeps. That's supposed to get the dog to come back to you. It's not like it's the first time that cat has walked through the yard. Alright, so I'm just kind of using my stick here because I kind of want it to have like the little breaks in it like Bob's got. So I'm not using the brush for this. I'm sure if you had a teeny tiny palette knife, that would probably also work here. But you know, painter's choice and all that. Alright, so he didn't have it very white to begin with. I don't know if I'm gonna need to come back in with something. Might need to. But it kind of depends. All right. And then let's see. Maybe here. So like you can kind of see shapes being carved out here as we're going. So, I mean, if you don't have a stick, maybe like an old gift card piece that's cut up. Like, you don't want to dig into the paper. I'm just kind of scraping the surface. Maybe a stiff bristly brush, or you just want to like try to dry brush it in there. Not sure if a toothpick would work. Maybe if you have like the ones that have like the flat end. Because there's some round toothpicks and then there's some ones that have like the flatty edge. Not really sure if you could get the round ones to work. That might be quite the endeavor. Maybe like a little tiny piece of cardboard. Like maybe like a little piece off a cereal box or something. Again, this is just like the drink stirring sticks that I've been making our magnet frames out of. So it's nothing real fancy. I'm sure if you had like a stiff enough piece of cardboard. I think a cereal box would be stiff enough for this, just a little tiny piece. And you just kind of twist and turn it to however it's gonna best work for you. He didn't put a whole lot on these bits on the end. Probably because they're going to end up covered up with something, but I'm gonna still try. I know it's a little bit time consuming. At first I was like, oh, you know, we might be able to get two in today. No, no. No. One's probably as far as we're gonna get with that today. All right. Okay, so there's that color. Now I need to make a slightly in between color. Alright, so I guess like some of our base color that has kind of dried here. Gray that up a little bit. Probably way too much blue there. And then let me see about adding a little bit of this taupe color into that. Like, I don't want it to be brighter than our highlight color. That's just not gonna work. Alright, that might do something. See about getting. I don't think my brush is fully rinsed here. Okay, I might have to add some water to some of my shades here as we go. I'm gonna dip in. Try to dip in. To our dark color here. Not sure if I'm too dark here. I think I'm definitely getting some of that lighter color pulled into there that's on our stick already. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. Well, it's not so bad. Just kind of bringing that down. in between. Kind of as best as I can. It is looking a little bit darker on top of this. We'll see what it looks like when it's dry. I don't know that it's really bringing a whole lot to it at the moment. But we'll see. I mean, I can kind of see it doing a little something. Kind of, sort of. All right. Let's kind of blending that back into the highlight area. You know, you can take as much time as you want playing around with your little highlighty color. And your shadowy color. As we are going along here. So hope everybody had a good Hanukkah that celebrated. I believe the last night of that, was that last night or the night before? Time runs together on me. I don't think Kwanzaa has started yet. And we still have a couple more days till Christmas. Not very much time though. Are you guys procrastinators? I know some people that only do their Christmas shopping on Christmas Eve, and I'm like, oh my god, how? It was more fun for them, but I think that was back when malls were more prevalent and had much more stores in them. So I'm like, how could you let that go to the last minute? What if they don't have what you need? You don't have time to order it. But I guess that was really more before online shopping really took off. Let me see here. kind of want to add a little bit more that lighter color in there. Okay, that's not terrible. I've done worse, I think, but okay, Bob. You were talking about a fan brush and some white paint. Is this just... Okay, magic white. Magic white to what? You didn't say. The same cloud color? Oh god. That's scary, Bob. I won't be doing that. Oh, and then... Oh, okay. So that's why... Oh. Where's my mouse? There it is. Another set of ads that I can't skip. Okay. Okay, so he just hadn't... Oh, that one's supposed to be sitting in front. It's fine. It's fine. My mountain's a little bit differently shaped. Okay, so... Then he's go... Are you actually gonna show what he's doing? Or are you just gonna stand there from this angle where you can't see shit? I hate the camera work on this first season. Thank you. Okay, so ours doesn't quite look like that. It's okay though. Sorry, it sounded like our screen door just tried to open. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Okay, so we've got that. Now what's he doing? Bob, no. Bob. Bob. What are you doing to me here, buddy? Okay. Really? Okay. It would sure be nice if we could actually see what Bob was doing. Thank you. Okay. So we might do something similar here. I don't... What the heck did I do? I did something. Alright, he's adding more clouds and stuff. He's still fussing with the clouds. I kind of feel like that needs to be a little bit bluer for our shadows here. They still haven't... Okay. Like, maybe our shadow needs to be a little bit more... more blue. Like, I don't... Like, 'cause it's kind of melted in at this point, and really can't see it. That is too much blue. Yes, that was way too much blue. That is very much going to outshine the rest of our coloring here. Now I need to gray that back down. Wow. I mean, it's definitely more blue now. I've gone too far. I've gone too far. It's that simple. I'm gonna have to put some more gray down. I'm gonna have to move to a different well. Because we've got this all sorts of mussed up now. Maybe a little bit more of this taupe color. Alright, maybe that'll do. I almost need a much larger mixing area. Alright, let me try that. Because, you know, it just... can't really see it at all. Yeah. Okay. Well, I might need to taupe that up a little bit more. It doesn't help that it's like blending in. With the color that's already there. But it also kind of looks like I don't have a highlight color down at all. Like, I know it's supposed to be a shadow. I get that. But it didn't really look like there was anything there. Trying to rotate this in my hand without dropping it. Still not quite sure. Like, I don't want to go too bright because it is a shadow. Which I feel like I'm in danger of doing if I add any more white into this. So I'm not sure I really want to go too crazy. Well, I thought we were making good time. Probably not. Probably not. I mean, if I think I'm making good time. Considering we still have to work some more mountainy magic into here. I mean, that might be a little bit better. It definitely was a little too dark, even though it was a shadow. So some of this I'm going to need to give a minute to dry. Before we get on in there with our cloudy bits, I think. Alright, I think I like that a little bit better. I don't know if it is better, but... Okay, so we need our cloud color. Let me get some fresh water here. Just because I don't want that bit of blue that I had in there to, shit. Just dropped my lid. Where'd it go? There it is. Ugh. Alright, let me put that back on there, because if that spills, that's going to be a disaster. Alright, let me reactivate our cloud color here. And I'll add a bit more titanium. Okay. So we've got a cloudy guy kinda hanging out down here. So I am activating a little bit of that gray a little bit under my cloudy shape. Add a little bit more titanium into that, just to try to make that a little bit more solid. All right. I'm gonna pick up a little bit more, and he's got like another like little fingery one kind of going that way. Okay. Rinse that. Okay. Try that guy off. All right, so I need to mix apparently a little bit more of our mountain color here. Grab just a little bit of water into that. All right, so I guess I'm gonna come into here. Now he's got like three how do I want to do this? That's a good question. How do I want to do this? Nope. We're gonna have some sirens going by in just a minute, it would seem. Well, we might have some sirens going by. Lately, they've been turning off before they go past our house. Oh, they're gonna come by. Fire rescue, like pickup truck. I thought there was a fire truck too. Well, guess not. Okay. So we've got this one. And how am I gonna do this? So I guess this one. I'm gonna like pop into here. Now, granted, I think I'm a little off for where things are located compared to his. Not the end of the world. We can get that figured out here. Okay, so there's that one. Sorry, I was trying to debate whether or not I wanted clean water here. So, I mean, if you, like, usually I would have 2 cups going for my gouache, kind of like watercolor painters, where I'd have one that I was just pulling clean water from. So I didn't have to keep, dumping my 1 cup of water here. Alright, so I think I'm gonna add a little bit more. Uh-oh, I got a little bit of green into that. Oops. Doodles. I don't really see it showing up too much in here, so I think we're okay. I'm probably gonna grab just a little skosh more of the titanium. For our highlighty color here. Alright, let me grab our stick. I'm not sure if this is quite dry enough. To add our snow onto this guy, but so I don't know if it's just the way Christmas fell this year or if they didn't have to worry about or decided not to worry about as many snow days this year. But it seems like Christmas break's an awfully long time here. Like when we were in high school, I think we got out like the day before Christmas Eve. Depending on how the calendar fell. These guys have technically been out of school since Friday. Like Friday was their last full day. And then they went into Christmas break. Really surprised me. Like, wow, that seems like a really long Christmas break. But even then, we didn't really get much of a break because then maybe a week and a half at the absolute most for us. But then all of the teachers piled so much schoolwork on us that it really wasn't a break at all. Like, they wanted these reports done. This had to be like a 3-page essay. This report had to be done on this book, and I'm like, you all want a break from grading and shit for Christmas. Maybe we want a break mentally from doing all of this work. Like, this is insanity. My mom's like, why are you bringing all these books home? I'm like, I've got fucking homework. Every teacher has their own list of like 10 things they needed done. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, this doesn't look any brighter than the ones in the back. To me. Maybe I can rinse that in that water. That should be fine. Okay. Look at this. Worked into here. Ordinarily, I would probably just turn this. And I probably could just turn it. To be perfectly honest. Or I could tempt fate with my left hand. Cal, leave him be. Don't give me that look. You don't like it when the kitten does it to you. So don't you turn around and do it to him. Not the kitten, but it's one of the other cats. Dominance displays. They're all fixed too. What's the matter?
Oh.
Oh, you got a phone call.
My mother was asking about her Social Security update mailer.
Yeah, I gave it to you.
Oh, we do have it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I asked you if you wanted to... Alright, so, sorry.
What you want.
To see what her increase is. It was like 0.02% or something. My mom got like $50,
Well,
if that.
she wants it specifically as proof of income, which
What does she need proof of income for?
I have no fucking clue. I think she wants.
Alright, so. Alright, we need some more white here. Okay, so he's got some more cloudy bits, right? Kind of like come on into here. Just saw a fuzz clinging to the end of my brush, and now I don't see it, so I don't know if it like fell off into the water. Or where that has just vanished to. Because of that blue and the gray, kind of needing to come in here. And rinse a little bit. Like right here especially is being particularly fussy. Okay, so we've got some cloudy bits kind of hanging out. Down in here. Oh, okay. That is definitely picking up all of that gray in there. Alright, I'm probably just gonna swirl around this color in here just to kind of figure out where I am taking that. Okay, so maybe something like that. Rinsey, rinsey. So this is just adding more titanium to my cloud color mixture. One second. Sorry about that. Alright, I'm not sure how watery I want this to be. I'm trying to get this to be a lot whiter. So I kind of don't want it too watery in here. Which is proving a bit challenging. Because it keeps mingling with the gray. And I don't want it to be gray. But it looks like it's just going to keep on blending in there. I mean, if I get enough layers in there, maybe. Maybe I can at least get some highlights worked in. That was just some straight of that mixing white. Because right now I'm just kind of shooting for the moon at this point. might be as good as that is going to get over there. And then we've got some more cloudy bits kind of over here. Had a drop of water that was slowly creeping closer to where I didn't want it to be. Alright, so do I want to even attempt to get this last mountain in here? So kind of get this guy worked into there. He's just a little baby guy. Okay. Alright, I'm gonna need my stick again. Now, I mean, I probably could have brought out the heat tool just to dry this. In layers. That might have made the paint going on a little bit easier. In some of these sections. Okay. And then that's got another bit of cloudy stuff kind of hanging out with that. mean, I don't know how much of this is really gonna be visible by the time we're all said and done here. You know what I mean? Right, so let's see about kind of getting a little bit more of this cloud bit kind of mixed into the bottom here. Just gonna kind of do a little bit on the bottom edge. So I'm trying to come back in without swirling too much. Just to try to get some whiter highlights in there. We've probably just made more of a mess than anything, but okay. Now, he was talking about mixing up another color, so we're just gonna do that. We might run a little bit over today. Okay, so what are we mixing? Had to back that up a little bit. Gonna mix a little color. We'll add, what are we adding? Bob, tell us what you're adding. Sap green, blue, alizarin. Okay. And then we're gonna add in some foothills. Sap green, blue, and alizarin. Okay. No, enough with the ads, please. Okay, at least that one we could skip. And then he's gonna darken it on the other side. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. That doesn't make much sense to my brain, but alright. Come on, Bob. Finish cleaning the brush. Okay, so I guess that's All right, so what was it? It was, I don't have a sap green. Oh, I do have a sap green. All right, let me turn this so I have a bit more room to work with here. All right, so get my tissue here so I don't rip up my hands or rip the tube open. Goodness. Okay. So sap green. Oh, back up. So for this, he took sap green. He used alizarin crimson. We didn't quite use alizarin crimson. Gosh, my sap green's like neon. And then like a dab of blue. I think I put too much blue in. Alright, so let me mix those. That's a very bright shade of green. I will say that. Okay, Bob. So we've got some foothills. Oh, that should be down a little bit further. Well, no, that's probably too far. How far over did he come with that? Maybe to there. So let me just kind of fill that in a little bit. Alright, just gonna grab just a little bit more water there. So I can kind of fill this in a little bit easier. All right. So we're gonna kind of fill this in through here. Alright, so I'm just kind of, I did dip into a little bit more of our paint here for that like pull-up section. Alright, so this in here. I just kind of wanted that to be a little bit more filled in there. Okay, so there's that. And then he mixed another set of this. So some more sap green. And some more of our alizarin crimson color. And a little more of our blue color. And he said he added a brown. Now, he works with two different browns. He'll use burnt sienna and Van Dyke brown. He didn't particularly say which shade of brown he was adding. He just said brown. So, I don't know if we have a Van Dyke brown in here. I don't think we do. So, we have a burnt sienna. I'm surprised we don't have a Van Dyke brown in here. Oh my god. Really? This one is like sealed. Wow. This one's like, nope. What we're not doing is opening. Holy cow. I'm gonna end up breaking the tube. I wonder if I like soak the tip in some water to like help reactivate what's on that edge there. Oh, oh, it worked. Maybe. Hold on. Yes, it did work. Cool. I honestly didn't think that was gonna work. Or I just managed to loosen it enough. I don't know. Alright. Grab a little bit of the burnt Yeah, no, I don't know. It must have been a different brown, because that's muddy. Like, his looks like a frosty blue. Unless I just added way too much. Doesn't it? I think his sap green and my sap green are very different shades of green. I will say that, because this just looks like mud. Unless I went too dark. Which, hey, you know what? It's possible. Well, it's definitely darker. Alright, let me rinse my brush from that menagerie of colors. Alright, so. Alright, let's see here. He's got this one kinda like up here. And then it's kinda crossing to like the base of it. Okay, it looked muddier in the puddle on the palette. This doesn't look quite so bad now. Okay, so that is what happens when it's too wet. And starts mixing with all that white that we had put down in there. But I probably brought that too high as well. Alright, so that comes almost all the way over to there. What the heck? Yeah, school's definitely out for Christmas break. Kids just yelling outside our house? At least I think that's what that was. I hope that's what that was all about. So I'm just trying to cover up a little bit of that area that got a little too light. Let me come back to that in just a minute. Give that a second to dry. There. Have that going on there. It kind of just like stops over here somewhere, so I'm not sure if I was really supposed to bring it that far over, but we did. It's that way in ours, right? It's gonna be okay. I'm just trying to fill this in a little bit where it got a little bit too light. And it's probably way too tall. But that's okay. Alright, let's go ahead and we're gonna rinse that. Okay. Alright, Bob. We got that one in. You're a lot closer to the bottom than I am too. So, sap green, alizarin crimson, yellow. Okay. And then we're gonna put some trees. And shrubbies at the base of that one. Okay, and then he's going to drag that straight down. Okay, so sap green, he uses, what does he use? He uses cad yellow. Do I have a cad yellow? I have a lemon yellow. Yeah, it's gonna end up being lemon yellow because I don't have a cad yellow. I have a mid yellow. Or a Naples yellow that's more like a flesh tone. So it's gonna end up being lemon. So lemon. I don't know what container you came out of. You're gonna go there for now. Okay. So alright, so we've got some sap green. Okay, we've got... That's probably too much of that. Some of that. Color that we used as alizarin. I know it's nowhere near alizarin's proper color. With that wineberry. Okay. Let me rinse the wineberry out of there. I've got a clump of it in my brush. And I need a little bit of this yellow. I think I need more yellow than that. And it makes like a dirty green color. Well, that's definitely a dirty green looking color. I will not argue with you, Bob. That is a muddy green color. Okay, and then... Oh, we can't even see ours. Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. That is very transparent. Alright, I'm going to go against my better judgment here. And I'm gonna add a little bit of the mixing white. On into there. Like, that is very difficult to see. Alright, I'm just grabbing some more of that, like, wineberry color. And I didn't want to, because I think it's going to make it too dark, but I'm going to grab just the tiniest bit of that burnt sienna. Yeah, that's very brown now. Well, it still looks muddy, but alright, adding a little bit more sap green into that. Doesn't really help, does it? It's too much, like, it's too close to that other color there. Alright, I'm just gonna go balls to the walls and add in a lot of yellow. Like, way more yellow than I was super comfortable with. Yeah, you still can't really see it. Bob, I have a problem. I can't really see my shrubberies. and I'm not real sure what to do about it, Bob. I mean, you can kind of see something happening in here. Maybe. Maybe. It's very difficult, though. Maybe we needed a bit more sappy green. Or that color in front needed to be like, or behind it needed to be like way, way darker. Let me see here. Add just a little bit of water to that. Just kind of bring down, oh, you know what we'll do? We'll just kind of dampen our brush for that. Ever so slightly, like not like a full wet brush. Like we'll pull a lot of that water off of there. I'm just going back in and just grabbing the slightest little bit of our paint here. Just pulling that down from the bottom a little. And now that that's damp, just kind of grabbing a little bit. See, it's a very different color that got dragged into that. And what is actually showing up here. I mean, we can't win them all, right? But doesn't mean I'm not gonna keep fighting to the end. That was just a little bit of the watered down lemon. I'm just kind of dabbing in here on top. Just to try to give us a little bit more of a color variation there. Alright, I don't know if that really helped or not. It probably made it worse, but we've got something going there. Alright. Alright, Bob. What you got for me now? He's putting in sticks. He's scraping that in with his knife. Let me see. I mean, if I do that, I'm gonna be like damaging our paper. So I don't want to do too much of that. Alright, Bob. Now what are you doing? You're mixing color. Phthalo green to what? Phthalo green and cad yellow. And permanent red. Those are some big trees, Bob. Right, so some yellow. That's a lot of yellow. A little bit of permanent red. And he used a little bit of phthalo. I don't really have phthalo. I have viridian. That doesn't look much different than our other colors here. How is it a highlight? Oh, that's just mud. Bob. Did we go too dark? Bob, that's not much of a highlight for us. Alright, I'm gonna mix a little bit of that mixing white in there just to see what happens. This doesn't really... It's not really going to do very much for us. It's just going to kind of blend on in. To the background here. We need a new bit of water here because it's staining everything green. Okay. We've got something. It doesn't quite look like his, but that's fine. Gouache is not oil paint. YouTube ads. Van Dyke Brown with some dirt. Okay, I don't have Van Dyke Brown. I do have Burnt Umber. Not quite the same. Okay, so let's get a little bit of... Did I not rinse my brush? That still looks green. Alright, so Burnt Umber is just gonna have to do for our purposes here. And we're just adding a little bit of a dirt shoreline here. And I don't know if he actually grabbed the titanium white for the waterline or not. He usually does it with the liquid white or something. He might be trying to put it in with that brown there. He still has that knife out. Yeah, we put in a little one. Alright. We're running short on time, Bob. What's next? Oh gosh. We're not even halfway through. That's not good. Okay, Bob. Tell us what did you just mix, Bob? These same colors. What same colors, Bob? You've used a lot of colors, Bob. See, he's rushing and he's not telling you what he did. It kind of feels like our muddy color. That I'm gonna have to mix more of. Yeah, there's quite a bit of brown in that. So I think we're just gonna have to make that up as we go here. Alright. So I'm gonna get a little bit of our burnt sienna. Quite a bit of our burnt sienna. And I'm going to mix that with a bit of water. And I'm going to grab some of our sap green just to kind of bulk out this color a bit. All right. So it's kind of like up into here. And that's gonna come down in this way. And I kind of need that to kind of hang out down here. As best as I can. Do I need to mute?
Nope.
I'm gonna come over the tape edge just a little bit, make sure I do, just so I don't miss a spot there. I just added a little bit more water into that. Like, I don't want to go too heavy on the water, but at the same time, I kind of need to make sure I've got enough to carry me along here. All right, I think right there's probably a good spot to drag that shadowing down, or reflection. Yeah, I'm not opposed to doing the reflections, it's just, it's really difficult to do it with yarn, and it doesn't come out the way I want it to, so then I'm like, we'll just omit. We'll just omit. Can't duplicate everything down to a T in every medium. You kind of have to work within that medium's capabilities. Okay, so I'm just kind of working on getting some tree shapes, like kind of blocked in here. Now that is rather transparent there. That's kind of because I have this watered down a bit. It won't be for long. So I'm just kind of tapping this in here. So then just grab a little bit of water. Just kind of bring that down. Okay, so now, okay, so Bob's busy talking and not telling us what he's doing. He brought that down. Yes, yes, Bob, yes. Tell us what you're doing. Brown. And he's gonna lay in some tree trunkies. Hey, Mr. Camera, could you like actually show us what Bob is doing? Because this is important. No. Okay, thanks. It would have sure been helpful to see where he put those tree trunkies. Wake up, camera guy. We're not gonna get a closer view. Thank you. Okay. So there's some yellow, there's like an orangey color. Bobby just painted into your reflection. Did you forget that that was a reflection? He's gonna grab magic white. He's watching the clock because I think he's got 10 minutes left though. So I'm like real confused. Because he's acting like he's done. He's the way he's rushing. Oh, no, there's ad. I can't skip. Oh, now it'll let me skip it. Okay, so we've got some land in there. Alright. So let me grab my round guy here. So I'm gonna use my burnt umber because I don't have a Van Dyke brown in this. Oddly enough. Alright, can we... Okay. Just so I can see a little bit better what we're doing. I don't think the camera guys were quite in step yet with what was needing to happen here. To be perfectly honest. At this stage. I mean, it was the first season, but my gosh, this camera work. Kind of surprised it's quite so willy-nilly. Okay. So I need more of that yellow. that's not yellow. I'm grabbing lemon. Or I think I'm grabbing lemon, and it's turning out to be lime. Okay, so we've got some of that. How about we grab like this, what's this? It's called Bumblebee. I don't know that I've ever used it. No, because that opened like a dream. Okay. Kind of has like an Indian yellow feel to it. We do have a yellow ochre. I have used that. Okay, just there any other color bits? Probably not. We're probably okay. Alright. So, I guess a little bit of sap green. A little bit of the cat yellow. Well, that is, or the lemon yellow. That is very bright. Maybe we should add a little bit more of that lemon to that just to yellow it up a little bit more, because right now it kind of looks like neon. Alright, you know what? We'll kind of go with that. We'll see what that does for us. Kind of get that. Kind of bopped into there. Just a bit. And let me grab a little bit of just the lemon. I know he was using cad, and I think cad's probably a bit warmer. We'll have to see how that looks when it's a bit drier. Okay, so I'm gonna grab some of the yellow ochre. And I'm just gonna kind of work that in. Around in here. Just gonna kind of lay in a bit more of that color over top of there, just kind of give it a bit more of a slightly layered feel to it. Alright, so this is that bumblebee. Oh, wow, that guy is very bright. I'm just gonna kind of lay some of that in around the bottom. He grabbed a little bit of the permanent red too. This is kind of a combination of the permanent red, well, crimson red or whatever the heck I grabbed. Just kind of mixing them together with some shrubbery here at the base of that. Okay, so I'm gonna try to very carefully kind of add that into the reflection area, with hopefully not making it too much. Okay. Just a damp brush to kind of come back in and grab my liner guy here. Gonna give us some dirt there. He didn't do it on this side yet, but I'm gonna add it to mine. Just to give us a little bit more ground to work with. Okay. There's, oh, ow, just hurt my back. Okay. Easy there, back. Easy. Don't be getting too upsetted there. Alright, so I'm gonna grab this, like, bright green guy. I'm gonna make this one back here, a combination of that. And that's okay if that kind of melts in a little bit. Here and there, that should be fine. All right, let me rinse that. All right. Like, I don't want them to be like in the same exact order as the other side. Oh, I just had another fuzz I saw. Oh, okay. I see where it went. Okay. This guy, I'm just gonna kind of tap in. This guy can kind of sit in front of the other one. Where on the other side, it was kind of tucked behind. Here's that. Alright, gonna grab a little bit more water. A little bit more of this bumblebee bee. I'm gonna kind of tap him into here. I mean, if we're gonna make it an autumn mountain, we should have some autumn colored tree guys in here. Like, that much is only right. Alright, so we're gonna have some shrubbery down here on the bottom. That was a lot of red there. That was definitely a lot of red. That was more red than I really wanted. But it's there now. That it is. Maybe I can get some of that like ochre color kind of mixed in at the bottom of it just to tone it down a little. Okay. Just dampening my brush a little bit. Okay. Alright, so let me grab some more of my brown. Give us a little bit of ground to work with on this side. Alright, rinse that. Okay. Alright, Bob. What else are you gonna do to me here? Because... yeah, okay. I did that. We still have to add in our water line. Oh, he did a highlight on there. Dang it. Alright, so let me grab... I guess I'll grab some of my taupe here. I have to reactivate it. Because it's definitely dry. Okay. Just some little highlighty squiggles. Alright, what's next? He still has 8 minutes. What the heck else is he putting up in here for 8 minutes? Oh no, don't. God damn it, Bob. Really, Bob? Bob. Bob. That is a big old honky tree. Bob, I don't know if I want that in my painting. That's a massive guy. I'm sorry, I'm in another ad that it won't let me skip. These ads are getting ridiculous, but I refuse to pay for YouTube. YouTube's not paying me, so why should I pay for it? If they let me monetize the channel, I'll think about it. Alright, so it's like a dark reddish brown. But he still has like 5 minutes left. I really don't want to put that tree in. Oh, he adds another one over here. Does he put leaves on it? Or is it just dead? Oh, Bob. Why did we put those reflections in, Bob? Bob. Bob, you're piddling it to death, Bob. You piddled it. You piddled it, Bob. I'm not putting that other stuff in. I don't want it. It's our piece. We can do what we want, and that's not what I want, so. The last little bits that we need to do here is just some waterline here. Bob, I disagree with you. It did not need the big ash tree. I mean, this guy's a little empty, but we put all that work into putting that mountain in, and I really don't want to destroy that. That seems silly to me. And I don't want to. So how about that? Alright, so I'm gonna sign this. As Bob said, it's our world and we can do what we want. So I don't want to edit, so I'm not gonna. I think it kind of killed it. To be perfectly honest, I know I'm criticizing Bob, but I don't know, I don't like that big tree there, personally. So I'm not gonna. Alright, so tomorrow we will be back with needle felting. Sorry, I'm just trying to clean up this brush a little bit. It's a bit of a mess. We'll be back with needle felting tomorrow. Who's on top? Are you on top? You're on top. And we'll be trying to finish up that magnet. We're pretty close to being done on it. I think we just have to add in the waterfall in the bottom there. So that hopefully shouldn't take too long. I might start a little bit early tomorrow, just to ensure that we have time to finish. So I'm being very gentle here. If your tape doesn't want to come off, if you have a hair dryer or a heat gun, very carefully, you can use it on the adhesive on the tape for just a couple seconds, just to kind of warm up that adhesive so it'll let go of your paper a little bit cleaner if you're having trouble getting it off. It ripped it a teeny bit right up there, but it's not too bad. Also, if you kind of try to pull it at a bit of an angle, that kind of helps too sometimes. Yeah, no, I don't think we've lost too much by omitting that tree. I like it better without it. So that'll be it for this one. We'll put this one in the books. So like I said, we'll be back tomorrow with needle felting and finishing up that magnet. And then on Wednesday, we will be back doing Planet Zoo and trying to finish up that centipede section. And we need to landscape around the ATMs, like that whole area needs to be prettified. And we'll see what all we can get into with that. But that's on Wednesday. So I hope everybody has a good holiday if I don't see you tomorrow or Wednesday. And thank you for checking in this afternoon. Don't forget to follow the social links down below. Those will take you to the Kofi for those that want to support the channel without going through Twitch. We have the link to the Blue Sky, which is kind of like X Twitter, but I like it a bit better over there. And we also have the link to the YouTube channel where this painting series is on its own playlist and archived over there, along with a bunch of other stuff. A lot of the live streams have been archived over there. Plus, there's some things that we haven't live streamed, like Baron Breakfast, Honey, I Joined a Cult, Little Known Galaxy, and there's also some art projects as well that didn't get streamed that are over there. I am still editing the tissue paper project. I am on video clip 124 out of 180. So it won't be done before the end of the year, but I'm hoping by February I can get that wrapped up. I might be done before February, but we'll see. February is my new goal. We'll see if that happens. So thank you guys again. Enjoy your afternoon. And until next time, have a good one.